Hey, this is Dr. G. How are you? Hope you've been having a wonderful, wonderful week, wonderful day. Dr. G, your success psychologist, coming at you, teaching you about the psychology of success. Be sure and hit the like button. Be sure and hit the subscribe button. Subscribe. Please share this with everybody because you're going to need some help. I'm telling you right now, what we're talking about today, and go to my website, drgladney.com, because I have other resources that can help you as well. But today we are talking about my family is driving me crazy. Can you relate to that? My family is driving me crazy. Whew, how many reach outs do I get for help with people's family? Yes, your family can be driving you crazy. What do I do about that? Now, let me help you understand how to deal with this family. First of all, family is defined as the people that are in your heritage, people that are part of your genetics and your DNA. And guess what? None of us had anything to do with that. We cannot help who is in our family. We didn't decide what family we wanted to be in. It was just the look of the draw, if you know what I mean. How we all came to be in this family. Your family that you don't choose, that you don't get to pick, that you have no say-so about, are made up of a lot of imperfect people with a lot of issues. Let me say that again. Your family is made up of a lot of imperfect people with a lot of issues. Yeah, we all have them. We're human and we come with issues and challenges. And our genetics and the makeup and the environment and from generation to generation, what has happened gets passed on, and it gets passed on to you. Now, in this imperfect empire that is built called the family, that you just have to take the cards that you're dealt. There are a lot of people with a lot of different personalities, a lot of thoughts, opinions, issues that come along with it. Now, you've heard of the word dysfunction and dysfunctional family. Dysfunction is really kind of a harder way because it's really a lot of abuse and violence and things like that. In the regular terminology in the psychology world, that's what dysfunction means. But a lot of times we all say we come from dysfunction because it's a lot of chaos that we have that is in all of our families. And so if you have the kind of family when you have a gathering, the holidays, something happening, a wedding, a funeral, a family reunion, and then somebody somewhere is going to be arguing or bickering or something going on. And everybody talks about that Uncle Tyrone, or that Uncle Theo, or that Auntie Tay or somebody that when they come, they act a certain way. Or you have the families that they get together and everybody's fussing and arguing. And some of these movies really depict a lot of the chaos that's in the families because you grow older and siblings go their own ways. They build their own lives with their own groups of friends and people and surround themselves with what they call a family that's nothing like theirs. So when you try to blend in all of these people together, stuff happens. And you get stuff and it's like, oh my God, these people are driving me crazy. Well, I'm here today to help you not be driven crazy by your family. How do you keep your family from driving you crazy? Now, if we look at the family dynamics of the family, it could be parents that are driving you crazy. It could be children that are driving you crazy. It could be siblings that are driving you crazy. It could be grandparents. It could be cousins, aunties, uncles. There's a lot of different people and a lot of different connections. And then all of these people get together and something happens. And so how do we deal with this? How do we deal with people? Sometimes the families can be just right down toxic. What I mean is just like, oh my gosh. And people say, oh, I haven't spoken to my family in a long time because of the issues that they have had to deal with and that they bring forth to everybody else. So there's a lot here, but I want to keep it more on the lighter side. If you have some more difficult situations, please reach out to me. You can go to my website and let me know that, and I can help you with more difficult. But right now we talking about the ones that is just like, oh my gosh, when they come around, I already know how that auntie gonna be. I know what she gonna say. I know how that uncle, or you may have the family member that every time you get around, guess what? They're drinking, they're drunk, they're high on something, they're not in the present. And so different dynamics and different things happen. So, because you cannot control anybody but yourself, I'm going to help you keep your mind. I'm going to help you keep from your family driving you crazy. So I'm going to give you some pointers. You're going to want to write this stuff down. I promise you, because you're going to need some help. Okay. You're going to need help. The first point that I want to give to you is do not internalize anybody else's issues. Do not. I just told you and explained that there's imperfection and everybody has issues and problems and things that come along. What you don't want to do is internalize somebody else's issue. They've always had a problem. They've been this way. They're this, they're that. So don't internalize the issues that they have that they bring to you. And number two, I want you to understand, don't feel like you can fix your family, because that's a lot of stress and a lot of weight that you're putting on yourself. A lot of times families are made up and there's somebody in the family that becomes the ATM machine. There's somebody in the family that becomes the savior. There's somebody in the family that becomes the caregiver of everybody. There's somebody in the family that is the leader. A lot of times it's the matriarch or the patriarch. When the matriarch is gone, there's a lot of things that can happen. So you could put a lot of pressure on yourself feeling like you're the fixer of the family. Don't do that and don't be that, because you can't fix anybody. All you can do is to control yourself. So I'm helping you there. Number three, which is really, really, really important, is to understand how to set boundaries. Now, this is easier to do when it's somebody outside, like a cousin or an aunt or somebody that didn't really grow up in your household. A lot of times there's a lot of sibling rivalry going on and a lot of sibling stuff that has been since you have been little. And you know I have had 4 siblings. I grew up with 3 of them in the household, and then my younger 2 siblings that were a part of everything, but you're all different people. Me and my older sister were the exact opposite personality. I'm the extrovert, and she was the introvert. I love people. She liked people, but she didn't have to be around people. She was very quiet. I was very loud. I'm very dramatic. And she wasn't. She was very conservative. So you can imagine that 2 mixture of people. So growing up, we didn't have a whole lot of interaction. And I thought she was mean as all get out. I was like, why are you so mean? What happened to you? And it's funny because as we grew older and your siblings can be so annoying to you. You can have brothers that pick on you. You can have other sisters. And a lot of times there's this comparison in families, and it's, that one is better. This one is smarter. This one is trying to always catch that one. This one is jealous. This one is, it's just so much. Like I said, we're imperfect. And it's like, well, why are you mad? And sometimes parents can show favoritism to one over another. And all of this stuff breeds a whole lot of crap in your life. And so I'm trying to help you to look back and to evaluate. Sometimes with the siblings, one of the things I want to say before I give you number 3 is you need to sit back and understand, where did this even start? Y'all have had a bitter feud going on and you don't even know what started the bitter feud. You don't even know why you feel about each other the way that you feel, because this is just how it's always been. And you've even forgot, and you need to sit down and it's like, where did this all start? Sometimes the issues have started in such a very small place. What I mean by that is it might have started on a Christmas day when your present was bigger than the other present and you said to them, you know, I don't like you because, you know, whatever. Do you see what I'm saying? And it starts to grow from there. Or again, because sometimes parents don't know that they're causing issues and they'll say, why can't be more like your sister, your brother? And it's like this comparison. So it starts to develop a wedge between the siblings. And this stuff goes on and on. And it can go on for years. And so it's time to sit down and have that conversation. Where did this even start? Because if you're not on a stable ground with your family, it keeps you unstable, even though you can develop other relationships, but deep down inside, you're never really happy because your family is your core. They are the existence. They were put into your life to teach you how to do life and how to deal with all different types of people, but to still love them, but to still appreciate them. Now, all the people outside, you're not going to feel the same type of love. However, with your family, they're here to teach you all of these things, and we don't learn them because you know what? We let emotions get in the way. Now go back and look at the other video when I talk about emotions and managing your emotions and not letting them control you. You control your emotions instead of your emotions control you. So sit down and even figure out, where did this rivalry come from? Where did it start? I had to sit down with my sister. Like, why don't you like me? I just don't feel like you liked me. And we had to talk after we became adults. And then after that, you know, it was like, okay, you can have a greater appreciation. Sometimes you're just not going to agree because if your personalities clash, they just clash, people. It's okay. Just respect that person for who they are and respect each other and still know that you're sisters and brothers. And when it comes down to it, your family, and you're going to need each other. And at the end of life, that's really what is the only thing that matters, is your family and the people that love you, that are surrounding with you. So find out where that comes from. But then then a part of that with the siblings is sometimes you just have to grow up, leave all of that stuff behind and grow up. And just say, you know what, that's how I was when I was that age. Or yes, I'm sure I was a mess. Or I'm sure I did bring a lot of anxiety to the family or whatever. Or it may be that you're saying that to them. The point is you got to have a starting ground and say, okay, we're going to leave that in the past. But you have to learn number 3 was you have to learn how to set boundaries. Whew, I don't know if I could say this enough. Set the boundaries. People are not taught how to set boundaries, so we really don't know what that looks like. What does that mean to set a boundary? That means that you sit and you write. Remember, I told you have to write everything down, because if you don't write it down, it's not coming into your brain and it's just something that you're thinking and you're going to forget. Set the boundaries that this is how I want to be treated. I will not let you call me and talk to me for, an hour talking about this person, that person, and that person, or being negative. I don't want to have any more negative energy. So if you start this conversation going down this road, then that's my time to exit. But when you set these guidelines for yourself and the boundaries, you have to let the other people know what they are, because they don't know what your boundaries are. And so this is where communication comes into play. When you set what you are going to allow into your life, into your space, when it comes to your family, and then you have to communicate that. So if it's always when you guys get together and you're trying to have fun and then it immediately turns, maybe there's trigger words, maybe there's trigger subjects. Don't talk about them. Don't say these words because this will make me feel this way. Now, some people are going to just do that because people say, well, I'm not going to tell them what my buttons are because they're going to push them. You know what? They're going to push them anyway. The point is that you're doing this for yourself and understanding to set your boundaries. And then number 4, you need to avoid feeding the negative. What does that mean? Well, when people come call you, talk to you, and their conversation is negative, and you chime in, it's like, oh, really? Tell me what else? What else did mama do? What did grandma say? What did they do? Oh, yeah. You're feeding into all of that. So you have to change your attitude and you have to change your energy in order to combat the negative energy. But don't let that be a part of what you do and what you say. So, always communicate your feelings with respect. This is really hard because when people are emotional and they have all these emotions that are built up and they have all of this stuff that's been going on for years and they have these rivalries that happen. And like I said, there's lots of movies out there you can watch that siblings are always pitted against each other. And it's like, okay, we got to manage the emotions, bring it down several notches, and try to communicate with respect to the other person. And you can't come to people in a way because if you don't communicate with respect, it's going to cause defensives and then emotions, and then you're leading to an argument. But that's why people say, well, I'm just not talking to my family because you can't talk to them. Well, nobody's really been trained on how to talk and how to communicate and how to say and have those difficult conversations and have those meaningful conversations that is actually can change somebody's behavior. Not you, but the conversation, what they filter, what they hear. So making sure that you communicate with respect. And the last one I'm going to tell you about, it's real simple. Let it go. Ooh, Dr. G, what you mean? I can't let this go. Do you know what she said to me? Do you know what he did to me? Do you know what my daddy said? Do you know? And one day I'm going to talk about the dads, but not today, and the parents. Anyway, I want you to let it go. That's right. Breathe. We breathe in. Take that in. Let it go. Do you know why? Because it's destroying you. It is damaging you. We're holding on to stuff, and that other person, they don't even know what it's about. They don't even know what you're holding on to. And it's eating you up on the inside. It is causing you to have high blood pressure. It's causing you to have headaches and sleepless nights and ulcers and everything else that's affecting your body, as well as your energy, your attitude. And they're going on and they sleeping and having fun, and you getting madder at them because they're happy, or they appear to be. Let it go. I know this takes some work. That's what I told you. Everything about it is work. You want to be successful in life. You want to have a successful relationship. You want to have a successful family relationship. It takes work, and it takes work on your part. And a lot of it, guess what? You have to be humble. It takes some humility, something that we know nothing about, because we're taught to ourselves to put ourselves first, and ourselves is all about this and that. And sometimes you just have to let it go. It's not that deep. When you know what your calling and your purpose is, all of this other things seems minute, because you're here for a higher purpose and a higher calling than to be constantly bickering and with somebody and at odds. So let it go. Now, I gave you a lot of tips and strategies that's going to help you with this family to make sure that your family doesn't drive you crazy. And sometimes if it's bad enough, you just have to distance yourself until you can heal. But like I said, that's some deep stuff and we can talk about that offline. You could just email me, go to my website, drgladney.com. Anyway, I hope I've given you some pointers and some tips on how to have more successful relationships with your family so that your family don't drive you crazy. Yes, again, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you can hear when the newest episode comes out. Like it and definitely share. I got some stuff for you at drgladney.com. I will see you the next time. And remember, don't let anybody drive you crazy.